19, and it's time for, a new round of shit talking, hot takes, and cold drinks. I'm your host, Snafu,
And I'm your co-host, Drizzy Dre.
and we got a couple of our boys on here with us today. If y'all want to introduce yourselves, or do you want me to introduce you? It don't really matter to me.
Junior, aka Tay. Simple.
Yeah, simple. Simple's definitely the word I would use.
Hey man, I like to get to the point. I like to get to the point. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Rob, you're
You're Rob in the building.
you're. What up, Rob?
Well, this is our first episode of 2019. It's nice to have y'all aboard for our first episode.
Oh yeah. You know how we do. You know how we do. But yeah, so we got a couple things we want to talk about. Some things that people want to, get off their chest, argue about, and just some general conversation. Um, let's see. I guess what we can do is we can start. Y'all want to start music or sports?
Uh,
Super Bowl tomorrow.
yeah, we can do
Yeah.
Super
Okay.
Bowl.
Well, then there you go. So
Super Bowl.
for those who don't know, not the St. Louis Rams, because man. All right, the Los Angeles Rams are taking on the Boston Patriots or the New England Patriots or
Damn,
those bastards from Foxborough, whatever you want to call them.
this nigga
In
said the
Super
Boston.
Bowl, was it 50? Is it 53?
Is it 53?
51 was Atlanta. 52 was last year. So yeah, it's 53.
Okay. Well, to start off, I just want to know everybody picks to win. So,
I think everybody's going for the Rams, but I think at the same time everybody knows who's going to win.
it's,
I think the Rams are going to win.
I want the Ram. You
I
said
want
who's
the
gonna
Rams to
win?
win. I think the Rams are going to win.
I want the Rams to win.
I don't want America to be happy. That's just me. I don't want MAGA America to be happy. And MAGA
So,
America is happy if the Patriots win.
so it leads me to ask:
Pretty boy time.
Is so so does it? I think that's fake, but does it? So is the
It's not
Patriots?
fake. It was there.
Oh well.
Don't try to defend that pseudo white supremacist.
So is the Patriots America's team instead of the Cowgirls?
Fuck no. First of all, America's team is subjective, and unfortunately, the Cowboys will have that title forever, just because at one point they were America's team, and it's not something that you just get rid of. The Patriots are like white America's team.
But it's black people that like the Patriots too.
Yeah, and they're stupid. There's white people that like, I don't know, fucking West Virginia, and like shit like that. There's black people that don't like basketball, so there's black people that support everything. They're just misguided and confused. It's okay. Everybody makes mistakes in life. You just gotta keep it moving.
That's true. Well, so everyone can agree that they want the Rams to win tomorrow.
Yes.
I saw this post and it was like, it did like who people were pulling for. North Carolina was voted for the Patriots, which is alright.
Yeah, for the most part,
Yeah,
it's like
for the
it's
most
kind of
part.
split. It depends.
Yeah, it is.
There's definitely parts of it that are Trump's country. I mean, shit, you go like 10 minutes down the road from here, you'll find some.
Pretty much. I mean, it's plenty of people in Trump supporters. That's nothing new. I'm used to it.
There's a difference between being a Trump supporter and being a white supremacist.
Yeah.
back, camera down. So,
Speaking of
oh
Trump,
yeah, but anyway, okay.
I have a question. So I don't know if y'all saw this, but I think he's pushing to have like in public schools now for them to understand the Bible more, like Christian religion.
Yeah, there's, yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. He hides behind a facade of being a religious, like a religiously centered candidate, and I mean that's what his, but that's also what his like his base, his voter base is. His, you know, WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. So
I saw a lot of black people giving him praise about it.
well, that's because black people are brainwashed by the Bible as well, but we're not going to get into that right now. We're not getting into that right now.
One day. So,
And that's fine. No, but this is the thing. I'm not disparaging that. I'm not going to, you know, sit here and be like, you know, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, pound into your head that, you know, Christianity is a white man's religion, and it was pounded into us by force when slavery, you know, was going on, but that's neither here nor there. So
one day I
it doesn't fully make sense for us to, you know, believe in it, but again, everybody has to believe in something, and because it was pounded into, you know, the slaves' head so much that their own religion and their own beliefs and their own traditions from, you know, Africa, well, of course, were pounded out.
That makes sense, but one
But
day I wanna.
the fundamental thing is you have to have a separation of church and state. It's like you can't. Our nation was falsely founded on having a separation of the two, even though, you know, the people came over here to America because they were trying to run away from religious persecution in the first place. But yeah, there's this whole thing about separating the church and the state, and if you write laws that say that people in public schools have to learn religion, that's going against that.
So one day I want to get all three of y'all opinions on religion. I want us to all sit down and talk about it. And then,
I mean, why don't we do that now? We can do that right now. We are here right now.
Okay. I mean, we can do it now if you want. Yeah, that works. So we'll start with Tate. Tate first.
Half our troops have been lost.
So you feel like it's choice, but you know it's something deeper than that.
We have lost objective Anton.
Rob, I want to know your perspective on this.
My honest opinion is religion is another way to make money.
We have taken objective data.
I don't believe in it.
Man, Rob pulling out some deep cuts right now.
Objective data has been lost.
It's another form of slavery.
Soldiers, we are losing objective Anton. Beware that objective Anton has been lost.
I mean, well, mine's a little different. I mean, being that my grandmother and grandfather were like straight up
Soldiers, we
Native
are taking
Americans is
objective
different.
Anton.
So it's like, and that's how it came up. It's like, I mean, I understand the concept of God and everything, but for them, they believe in like, the sun god, the winter god, wind god, and all of that. So everything, if you basically sum it all up, if you spoke it into the universe, it will happen. Or if you believed in it, you put it out in the universe, it will happen. I mean, it was never nothing about one person that created everything, which I take nothing away from the Christians, but I feel like it's
Whites.
that brings me to my second point. It's people that grew up in it that actually go by it, which is perfectly fine because you have a code to live by. Basically, you live by that code, which is okay. But at the same time, just by listening to y'all speak about religion, like all three of y'all, we all stand on the same side. I feel like it's somewhat of a. I feel like you can pray. I'm gonna just say you can pray all day, and not shit can happen, and then you'll feel like it's not your time. But then deep down inside, you're gonna feel like God didn't answer my prayers. So is God really listening to me? Because this didn't happen. Because in the Bible it says if you pray, basically it'll happen. So if it don't happen, then what?
That's where the
Soldiers, we have lost objective Anton.
sometimes the power of prayer is, but you also got one. But you also got one.
Right, but see, by you saying you have to work for it, and then when you go to church, they don't say you have to work for the prayer. They just say you pray and you believe in God. It'll happen if you pray and you believe in it, then it'll happen. Think about this. The whole concept of us is like. Exactly. Exactly. Chaz. Yeah, what you gotta say, Chaz?
Nah, I mean, I'm not the most religious person by any means. I'm one of the people who's like, I believe in a higher power. I just don't know what that is. I was raised in a Methodist home. Went to church every Sunday. I wasn't, Bible study every Wednesday and all that other stuff. I did church plays every once in a while. Da 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 da. I mean, my grandmother and grandfather on both sides are very religious still. They're both like singers, ushers, all that stuff in the church. So they're still very involved. But at a certain point, my mother converted from Christianity to the Islamic faith. Right. So I saw another side of, religion that I hadn't been exposed to, that I didn't see. So I believe in I believe in a higher being, higher calling, all that stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and say like the Bible's word for word, because I feel like in today's society, you have to turn a blind eye. If you believe the Bible wholeheartedly, then you have to turn a blind eye to all of the technological and medical and all these advancements that are in our society today, because you can't sit here and take the Bible at its face value and not believe, and look at the science and be like, well, that doesn't fully make sense. Like, I've met a couple people that are just like extra religious, that are like, the world is like only 2019 years old and stuff like that, and it's like, I don't
Yeah,
think you understand like how
that's
that's
true.
possible, because it's not. Like, you had to turn a blind eye to something, and if you're religious, you'd have to turn it. If you're like extra religious, you have to turn a blind eye to, science, and you have to turn a blind eye to, like that. Now, with all that being said, I'm not going to sit here and be like, if somebody believes in who's a devout Christian, I'm not going to, sit here and tell you, oh, your beliefs are stupid, because that's not me. I'm not going to do that, because, well, that's disrespectful. But what I will be is like, well, let's, believe in what you have to. Because like you said, like, I think it was Tay and Rob were talking about, like prayer and stuff like that. I still pray every night. Like, before I go to sleep, before I eat, that's just ingrained in me. That's just how I am. But I'm also like not saying that, oh, I'm not like, oh, prayer is going to fix everything. Prayer is going to do this. Prayer is going to do that. Because I know that's not the case. You still have to go out there. You still have to do,
You
your
have to
due
work.
diligence and all that good stuff. Exactly.
Defend the objectives at all costs.
It's not just going to get spoon-fed to you because you ask God for it or you ask a higher being for it. That's not how it works.
Basically, what you put in the universe, you get out of the universe. That's what I feel.
Right.
That's the way the Native Americans feel about it.
Because this is the thing. There's a time, because I mean, we're human. There's going to be a point where you're like, I don't know how to deal with this situation right now. I literally do not know what the next step to take is. What am I supposed to do? And sometimes it's okay. You know what? Just pray on it. And that'll make you feel better, because then you're like, okay, I've put my faith somewhere else, which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's when you you can't just only pray about it and then be like, all right, cool, I'm just going to go about doing the same thing that I was doing before. And it's like, I don't think you understand how this system's supposed to work. You have to put in your part, and then, it gets picked up on the other end as well.
Not to mention that also Christians, I feel like, are hypocrites. Because, Chaz,
Everybody's hypocritical.
Yeah, but
Everybody's
they
hypocritical.
seem, because you say your mother is Muslim, and they seem to down the Muslims a lot when it's almost the exact same as Christianity.
Well, no. So, okay, now that you say that, there's 3 Abrahamic faiths.
Yeah.
There's Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. They all start almost the exact same way, but then they branch off at one point. They all branch off at a different point, and then they all believe in something different. But they all have, like, first of all, there's like, Moses is in Judaism, he is in Islam, and he is in Christianity.
So they all believe in him.
Abraham is in all 3. That's why they're called Abrahamic faiths. But that's the thing. Everybody came from the same region, because Christianity, Islam, and Judaism all came from that Middle Eastern area. That's why the Muslims and the Jews are fighting over the Israel-Palestine area so much, because it's holy ground for both of them.
Yep. And I have a whole Quran in my house. Like, you remember, I was trying to read up on it. Like, have a whole Quran in my house. Like, I dipped into the whole Islamic religion. Like, so I wanted to get a better understanding of it, which is why I got, like, out of it that they all start the same, but they do, like, spread off into different stuff. But then again, it's weird, because they start the same, then they spread off, then they come back together, and then they spread off again. And which brings back to what you said, which is why we're at war for so long, and it's really a war over religion, which is
war now is over religion and
power.
basic ideations.
Yeah.
Because that's why it's so hard to justify. When you look back at like World War I, World War II, we were fighting fascism, we were fighting Nazism, we were fighting ideas that were bad for most people. Now now we're at wars with ideas. The Muslims aren't bad, but there's certain sects of them. There's certain sects of them, like Al Qaeda and all them, that are bad. Simple as that. But it's just like Christianity. You have the Westboro Baptist Church. The Westboro Baptist Church is a part of Christianity, and I don't know if y'all know about them, but they're some fucking assholes. They're the ones who sit outside the abortion clinics and all this other stuff, and like, say like gays are going to hell and all that fun stuff. But people will be like, oh, but they don't represent all of Christianity. But then you want to have like Al Qaeda, and you want to have, you know, all these extremist sects in Islam be the representatives for, you know, the Islamic faith, and that's what kills me. Like, everybody, there's people just in general that can't see the forest for the trees. But you can't see the forest through the trees. Like, basically, you can't see something small because of something larger, but it's in essence all the same. Because there's times where it's like Christianity, like people who are Christians will, you know, try to say that, you know, all faiths believe like, oh, if you don't believe in our faith, then you're going to hell. Okay, sure, why not? Whatever. Because then basically you're dooming a third of the planet to hell, and that's just stupid. But that's neither here nor there. And I lost my train of thought a little bit. What was I saying?
It's nice that though that we all four of us agree on like religion. Like, we do feel like it's man-made, and we do have our different outlooks, which is all four of ours seem to be different but similar.
I mean, we all believe in a higher calling, like we're a higher power. Because this is the thing. You know, as I said before, you know, I like to read up. I like to know about science and stuff like this. But I also know that science can't explain everything. There's just, because I mean, there's times where you read up on like fucking what was I was listening to this podcast. What was it talking about? There's like medical issues that people can't explain because, well, they don't know how it works.
Exactly.
Scientists don't know how it works, and because of that, you know, you can't. There's only so much you can do,
yeah.
Right? I'm trying to say how can I say this?
They have limitations.
Exactly. Like, there's things in this world that you can't explain, and those things are that. But that's why, you know, you have to have a balance, just like everything else in life. You have to have a balance between, in my opinion, you have to have a balance between your religious beliefs and what is reality. If you don't have that balance, then it's like, okay, well, you know, it's like if you are completely on the scientific, you know, side, it's like, I don't understand how this works, so then it just doesn't work. It's like, well, that's not the case. Just because you can't explain it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And then there's the people who are like, well, God didn't make this, so it's wrong. And it's like, no, that's not the case either, but, you know.
Those people are annoying. I ain't even gonna lie to people that's like, God didn't do this. Like, let's go back in time for a bit when they said, God said that slavery was right or something like that. Like, you know, like, it should be slavery. That's not true. Because in the same breath, you're saying that God said we all should be equal. So you're telling me that he's saying, just because your skin tone is like 50% lighter than ours, that you have, you know, authority over ours? It's not right.
Or it not even a race thing, but also just like a gender thing. You know, Eve was pulled from Adam's rib, and that means that that we're supposed to be equal. We're supposed to work together. We're supposed to be side by side. But people will believe that now women are supposed to be subservient and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? And like that again, that's not the case. That's not how this works. Exactly. But that's another thing. People will rely on their religion as a crutch and use it as justification, like we just talked about. Like, you can't, there's just certain things that even your religion doesn't say, but because when you interpret the Bible like laws are very vague in a lot of cases. So the Bible is also very vague, where you can cherry pick things out of it and say, okay, this is what he meant. This is what was meant by God. It's like, no, but because it says so in the Bible, That's what people think. Well, yeah, because again, when things are written clearly, like when your parents are like, "Hey, do not, don't go into this room. Like, don't push this. Don't do that." Like, if they tell you straight up, like, don't do that, then it's like, okay, well, I'm not supposed to do it. But if they're like, I don't think that you should go over there. At that point, you're like, well, why shouldn't I go over there? Then you have more questions. Then you're going to test stuff out. And then that's when stuff happens.
Well, that's true.
So it's like, but when I mean, it's just like, Rob and Dre, y'all got kids. When you tell them don't go do something, you're expecting them not to do it because you've told them explicitly. Now, if they were to sit there and if you were to tell them like, hey, I don't like, well, they're still really young, but when they get older, if you would just be like, hey, I wouldn't advise you doing X, Y, Z. At that point, then they're going to be like, just like when we were kids. Like if our parents were like, hey, I don't think you should do that, and it was like, well, why not? Why shouldn't I do that? And if they don't give you a reason why, then it's like, well, I guess I have to do this to find out why. Where, when anything is up for interpretation, people are going to interpret it however they want to. Not necessarily how it was meant to, but how they want to interpret it.
That's true.
And therein lies, and that's where problems, that's where like the problems lie at.
That's true. Hit it right on the head.
Basically, to sum everything up, because we've been rambling on for 20 some odd minutes. Balance is the key. You have to be balanced from, you have to be balanced on all sides. Yeah, to use another religion's, term. Yes, yin and yang. And again, I'm not going to, sit here and, I can't tell anybody how to feel. I'm not one of those people who will, be like, oh, you don't believe in God, so you're going to hell. Because again, first of all, that never made sense to me to begin with. Like, saying just because somebody doesn't believe in the same things you believe in, they're automatically going to hell. I don't see how a benevolent God, like everybody portrays their God to be. There are, in polytheistic religions, they will be like, yeah, we have gods that are assholes. We have gods that want things to just burn to the ground. Like, if you look at the Greeks and the Romans, they had, gods of the underworld and all this other stuff. Like the devil's the only one who, in Christianity, it's like the devil's the one who's evil. And it's like, God caused a flood that killed everything but, some people and a pair of every animal. And it's like, you know what? You know what? And I was like, that doesn't sound real benevolent to me, because if I'm correct, benevolent, like Bene, the word Bene as a root means good. So benevolent means good action or good belief. And that doesn't sound very good to me. Exactly. Like he said, no, the world's this fucked up. I'm gonna restart it. And it's like, shouldn't we say more than just like a handful of people and a pair of every animal? Because I think there's more than just right. Because first of all, if he could turn a person into a pillar of salt, I think that he can pinpoint accuracy, like strike down whoever the hell he wants to.
Basically.
Because. Exactly, and it's like, again, doesn't sound real benevolent to me, but I can be wrong. I can be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I will be wrong again, I am sure. But I'm sorry, that just does not sound right.
Well, this is how it is. That was a nice little religion talk that we had. I mean, I feel like not too many people actually had this talk.
Yeah, it was.
It don't change like if
Right.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean They're like, cause I mean, I've got, friends and shit like that that are like super religious. Like, they're still cool people, but I will get into, good spirited debates with them. But what I can't do is, I'm not gonna sit here and tell them like what to believe, how to believe, all that stuff. And as long as they don't do the same to me, then we have an understanding. Cause again, you respect me, I'll respect you, and keep it moving.
That's true.
Because again, people don't see eye to eye. People are rarely going to see eye to eye. When we've been on this podcast and just in our general lives, there have been times where it's like, we're like, I know what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes when we finally get off of this deep ass topic and we go back to doing niggerish things.
Or in our previous episodes, me and Chaz haven't seen eye to eye.
I was talking with a Lyft driver about this 2 weeks ago. Me and her were talking, and she was like, "Yeah, I was in government, da 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 da," and we started talking about like political parties and how when she was in government, she had to work with both sides to try to get stuff done. And I was like, "Yeah, you're right, you do have to," and but I was like, "But sports, sports and the government." And like your political beliefs and religion now is all seen on the same kind of level, where it's like, Dre, you pull for Duke, Tay, Rob, you pull for Carolina. It's good natured when y'all shit talk, because it's like, hey, it's all fun and games. We don't see eye to eye, but it's all fun and games. But people do the same shit for political parties where it's like, oh, you're a Democrat, well then I can't be cool with you. And it's like, well, why the fuck not? Oh, because I'm a Republican. That doesn't make sense at all. And people will take that shit to heart, and people will just be like, I hate UVA with most of my heart. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but I know that there's things that people from that school have done and that they do that is good for humanity and good for the community. I'll still say fuck them any chance I get, but I know that there's good people. But what I'm saying, but basically my point is this: this isn't religion, politics. They're not. There's no black and white. Like, there's times where you can talk to a Republican and you be like, I agree with some of the points that you make, but I don't believe with this. There's times when you could be with like if you sit down with somebody from another religion and you talk to them and you're like, all right, oh, what are your ideas on this? Okay, cool, I agree with that. I don't agree with how you guys may go about it or something like that, but I agree with your general sentiment. People are trying to make things so binary these days, where everything is one thing or the other. You're black or you're white. You're left or you're right. But that's not the case. Everything is like, our communities are so mixed right now. Even the people who don't want to like agree that they are, but everything is fucking. We're all just in this shit together, and everything mixes together. There is no, black and white.
Even in, I guess even in like the White House, somewhat, sometimes Democrats and Republicans do agree on certain stuff together. Because think about it, ultimately, at the end of the day, they all have to agree on something before it has to work. I mean,
at least the majority of them have to agree on it, right?
Majority of
but this is the thing, where politicians can do that. Everybody else has a lot of people under that, like just your standard voter, have a problem doing that. Where it's like, that's that's another reason why Trump was so effective in his campaign, because he painted the fears of the people who he knew would vote for him, and ran with that.
And also, he did.
Did he really think that he was going to be able to get Mexico to pay for a wall on its border? No.
I don't think.
But you know what he did? But you know what he did? He pandered to the people he knew would have fears of that, and used them to get to where he wanted.
So how do y'all feel about the shutdown?
I mean, first of all, any government shutdown is stupid. because all it is somebody is upset with somebody else, so they're like, well, I don't want to do what you tell me. And it's like, but you know, we're all a part of this together. Because you know what, the government shutdowns, you know,
Yeah.
of course, it's going on for a long time, and it's happened before, right? But it's been going on for a while. People aren't getting paid.
But thing is,
And you know who the people who are still getting paid? The people who work in Congress, the people who like basically the people who cause the shutdown still get money. They still get their bread. But the fucking TSA agent that works part-time at fucking RDU isn't.
the thing issue I have with that is that now I take nothing away from my black people, but they are complaining about. And I think people fail to realize how many times Obama shut down the government. Like once,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same,
Wasn't? But what was that one? But was that what?
it was for 8 days.
Did he shut it down? Okay, so 8 days. 8 days is a lot longer than a month. 8 days is basically 8 days is basically like, okay, I had to miss a week of work because I had the flu and I didn't have fucking any PTO days. But you still got paid for that second week.
Basically.
You're talking about over a month. Niggas haven't been able to pay bills, haven't been able to feed their fucking kids, all this shit for a month, bruh.
What a He did it for health
Right.
insurance, but he believed in that health insurance, I guess, the way that
Right.
Donald
No,
agrees with the wall.
Donald Trump does not believe in this goddamn wall. I don't care what you're about to try to spit at me. He doesn't care about this wall. His ego's too fucking large for him to be told no. He's been able to get everything in his life
but
up to this fucking point.
the thing I want to know
He's
is
been able
if
to do
the man
everything.
decided not to get paid for being president, so he's doing it for free. Why don't if he
He
has
did.
enough
You know
money?
why he didn't? You know why he didn't?
Why doesn't he just pay for the wall and he can have a wall?
That's not the point. The point is, look, Donald Trump has made his living over fucking people over, making bad deals that pay him but not the person that he's with or makes the deal with, and burning everything to the ground like he's fucking Sherman marching towards the Atlantic Sea in the Civil War. Donald Trump isn't going to use his own money. Bruh, you understand that his foundation, quote unquote foundation, took fucking proceeds, like donations, built a golf course, did all this extracurricular shit, but never did what it said it was going to do.
So this
So
also
his whole thing is, so guess what? If Trump wanted to, yes, Trump could definitely just be like, I'll pay for the wall myself. But he's not going to do that because he's egotistical, he's narcissistic, he has an attitude, and he doesn't want to do things that way.
I think he'll get the wall, not from the government. I think he's gonna pay for it on his own in about a
No,
year.
the fuck he's not. He doesn't, because you know what? He doesn't care that much. He doesn't care that much. No, because he doesn't care that much. If he actually gave a shit about the wall, he would have paid for it by now. But because he doesn't care about the wall, like he keeps harping on, he doesn't care. If this is the only term he serves and that wall doesn't get built, all he's going to do is say the Democrats blocked me from doing it. I didn't have help from the Republicans. You know, all this other stuff. All he's going to do, he's going to blame the people around him and then talk about, oh, if this has gotten built, then everything will be fine. Da 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 da.
So here's the thing too. So if now I know Democrats aren't really happy with him. They even moved to impeach him apparently, but
No, they haven't done that yet.
well, Republicans aren't too happy with him either. And
They were never happy with him.
so
The thing was, he just kept getting backing because of his strategy. Again, he is not. He ran for the Republican Party because it was going to be easier that way.
yeah. But you know what's crazy? He did say that in the beginning. He said now he would run as a Republican because he knew he'd win. But if he had to pick, he would pick Democrat. But it's so weird with his situation. Like, I've heard so much shit about his situation. I've heard shit from... Now, with President Trump, I heard that he was a time traveler from, he was born in Russia, time traveler. It's weird shit. And
These are weird times we live in, my friend.
Yeah, it is. It's so much. Like if you just look up his name, it's so much shit. Like 2 weeks ago, they just said that he was a time traveler. His son and him, everything that happened has the exact same shit that happened in the 1800s. The exact same shit that happened is the exact same shit that's happening now. It's just so weird.
Yeah, I seen that shit too.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And also, but I mean, I ain't defending the man, but to a degree, I feel like people use him as an excuse. Like,
Oh yeah.
because I mean, he has his mind of his own, but it's not. I'm gonna just say it, it's not all his fault. Like, I feel like
No,
people
it's
use him
not.
as an
It's definitely
excuse.
not. But this is the thing. Just to kind of throw it behind the back to religion right quick. It's just like people who are like extra religious, they won't claim their own faults, which is another problem. Just like anybody who's extra religious, like they will blame the negative deity just because Christianity is the one thing that I know, not front and back, but I know the best.